Hi, today we're going to talk about the craft of writing and we're going to focus in on dialogue. So we're going to be focusing today on dialogue tagging, which is how the author indicates who is speaking, which character, at any given point in time. But before I get started, I want to talk just a little bit about the convention I'll use. When I'm talking about an example, I'm going to highlight that portion in red just so it's easier for you to see. Okay, so let's get started. So to begin with, let's just talk about direct tagging. This is what people are mostly familiar with, and it's where the writer or the author tells you exactly which character is talking at a given point. So for example, Nancy said, "I'm hungry. Do you want to get something to eat?" "No," Kevin replied. "First, I think we should get this alien pod off my face." "Yes, that could be a problem," Nancy huffed. So in this example, everything in red, said, replied, huffed, directly tells the reader who is speaking. But if you did this throughout the whole course of your novel, the readers would get pretty frustrated with reading Nancy said, Kevin said, Nancy answered, Kevin replied, all the time. So how does the author mix it up? One way is through action tagging. Now, action tagging is when you use a character's action to identify who the speaker is within the dialogue paragraph. So let's look at this example. Nancy walked to the back of the science lab. "I'm hungry. Do you want to get something to eat?" Kevin pulled at the alien succubus that clung to his face. "No, first I think we should get this alien pod off my face." Nancy pouted. "Yes, that could be a problem." In each of these examples, you have the character committing some type of action in the first position of the dialogue paragraph. So Nancy walked, Kevin pulled, Nancy pouted. Now in a like manner, you can do the same thing, but you can put the action of the character in the second position of the dialogue paragraph. So for example, "I'm hungry." Nancy walked to the back of the science lab. "Do you want to get something to eat?" "No." Kevin pulled at the alien succubus that clung to his face. "First, I think we should get this alien pod off my face." "Yes." Nancy looked longingly at the Chinese take-home menu that was sitting crookedly on the counter. That could be a problem. So in these examples, again, you have the dialogue in the first position, the character's action in the second position, and then you could either follow that with more dialogue or just end it with the character's action. Now, a writer will also combine these two types of action taggings, like in this following example. Nancy walked to the back of the science lab. "I'm hungry." She looked longingly at the Chinese take-home menu that was sitting crookedly on the counter. "Do you want to get something to eat?" Kevin looked frantically around the science lab for something sharp. "No, first I think," Kevin pulled at the alien succubus that clung to his face, "we should get this alien pod off my face." Nancy pouted. "Yes." She stood up and walked to the back of the science lab. That could be a problem. So in this combination of action tagging, you'll see action before dialogue. So in the first position, in the second position, you see the dialogue. In the third position, you again see action. And in the fourth position, if the author decides he wants to do so, you can add some more dialogue. So an author is going to try to combine these tagging techniques to mix up the way that he tags so the reader doesn't go nuts. For example, Nancy said, "I'm hungry. Do you want to get something to eat?" Kevin pulled at the alien succubus that clung to his face. "No, first I think we should get this alien pod off my face." Nancy pouted. "Yes." She stood up and walked to the back of the science lab. That could be a problem. She looked longingly at the Chinese take-home menu that was sitting crookedly on the counter. So in this example, you have a direct tag with Nancy said. Then you have an action sequence in the first position of the dialogue paragraph, Kevin pulled. And then you have a combination of action in the first position and in the third position and then in the fifth position of the last paragraph. And this is how authors avoid always saying Nancy said, Kevin said, Nancy replied. And that's a great way to keep the reader from getting irritated at that repetitious nature of he said, she said, he said, she said. So now you know what direct tagging is and what action tagging is. And the next time you read a novel, you can recognize this for yourself. Now, there are other reasons why you use a particular type of tagging. So for example, you might use direct tagging only if you want the reader to bring in all of the powers of their imagination into the scene. So for example, if you said, Kevin said, "Get this damn thing off my face before we go eat," without giving an action, then the reader has to imagine all of the action. What's Kevin doing? What's his tone? And what is the other character doing at the same time? Or you can focus that action by throwing in an action tag. Kevin was tugging at the thing on his face, and that way you're taking the reader's imagination and focusing it on that action. So the next video I'll post will be also on the craft of writing and looking at dialogue, but we're going to look at something that's a lot more difficult to do, and that's using rhythm as the tagging mechanism to identify the speaker. It's very difficult, so that'll be an interesting video for you all to watch. So please remember to share my video, subscribe to my channel. Now if you have any advice on how to write dialogue, please put it below. It would be nice to hear back from you guys, and thanks for stopping by. Take care.